They start from the 35-yard line. Kyle Allen throwing on first down. It's complete. The rookie Antonio gets it out of the backfield, and he is into Giants territory. Lost the football. Bouncing around. It's still bouncing. Still loose. Now the officials will attempt to get to the... There's Blake Martinez. He helped knock it out along with the helmet of Logan Ryan.
Clearly a fumble, and that was a fumble recovered by New York. First down, Giants.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to Gamaray Predicts NFL Week 10. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe and comment down below. Looking back at what I did last week, I went 9-5, but I could have easily done better if I picked the safe option instead of going for the risky picks. A good example of this would be me picking the Colts over the Ravens. I got that pick wrong. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens took care of the Colts pretty easily in that one. I just felt like the Colts could have made a statement if they came out and beat the Ravens, but alas, the flight of the birds were too strong for the glue factory. The Bills shocked the hell out of me and beat the Seahawks pretty handily 44-34. Pete Carroll's gum-chewing addiction was getting larger by the minute with the defense they have. The Chargers just keep finding new lows of losing as they lost to the Raiders 31-26 due to a last-minute disallowed touchdown that would have given them the win. The Raiders had some off-the-field trouble though, as the NFL announced that they would be fining Vegas $500,000 and John Gruden himself $150,000, as well as the Raiders' forfeiture of a 6th-round draft pick for violation of the NFL's COVID-19 protocols. Vegas was lucky that the NFL did something in time, because if a member of the Raiders had gotten sick, John Gruden's solution to that would have just been to rub some dirt on it and get back out there. Tua Tagovailoa surprised everyone when his Dolphins went into Scottsdale and beat the high-flying Cardinals by a score of 34-31. Look out though, Tua, because if the Dolphins get into the playoffs again, the football gods will force injury upon you in order to make Matt Moore the starter. Elsewhere, the Panthers gave the Chiefs a run for their money. The game culminated to a field goal longer than 60 yards for the second straight week for Carolina. I swear Joey Sly is going to have a rocket booster installed onto the back of his foot in order to win the Panthers games. The Steelers practiced their annual tradition of playing down to their competition against a battered Cowboys team. The Steelers would wind up winning and keeping the unbeaten season alive, but not before making every Yinzer clench their butthole in fear as the Cowboys marched down the field on the final drive with Garrett Gilbert at the helm. Now it's time for a segment called Washed, where we take a look at the figures of the NFL and determine if they are washed up or not. The list this week includes Jerry Jones, Phillip Rivers, and the entire Patriots organization. But on Sunday night, it was the storyline of the century, Brady versus Breeze, and one day removed from the absolute beast of a Notre Dame versus Clemson game on Saturday night, NBC was salivating such a contested matchup between NFC South juggernaut. We can add Tom Brady and Bruce Arians to the washed list. I'm sorry, but how? How on earth do you give up 38 points to that offense? Not to mention with that defense. And offensively, right? How do you only score 3 points against that defense? God damn, even the Bears put up 23 against the Saints, and they don't even know how to block scam accounts on Instagram. Meanwhile, at the owners' meeting, God's sake, what are the owners smoking this time? I'm sorry, right? But on the first point, there's two sides to this. First, if a team doesn't want to develop a coach/assistant just because they're a person of color, that's a freaking problem. Teams shouldn't be incentivized to do that. They should just do that. But at the same time, if they aren't right for the job, teams shouldn't be bribed with incentives to hire someone just because they're a person of color. That's a problem too. You shouldn't hire someone for a job if they have no idea how to do it, no matter what skin color they are. It always makes me laugh when organizations as big as the NFL try to make their image look better by doing something like this to hire more people of color, because it usually backfires and ruins their image even more. And a league like the NFL with so many black players in it can't afford to damage their image like this. At the end of the day, if you're qualified to do the job and have the highest skill set out in your field, you should be hired, not because of your skin color, but because you're the most qualified for the job. And on the second point, right, why is the NFL so against moving the playoffs back? I don't think many people really care if the Super Bowl is in April. I think they would rather have the Super Bowl in April if it means they can watch the game in person without a gammy mask on their face.
That's what you need. Boots it right into his own teammate. This ball is free. Aggies recover. Nick Henninger picks it up.
And recovered.
Velasquez spiked it into it looked like Bates.
Now this is all well and good, but the only thing stopping this from being a representation of the Bears offense is that Boise State has scored 28 points already. Speaking of the Bears, they were beaten by the Titans, but that's nothing special. I just want to point out how much of a fraud Matt Nagy is. Ever since the double doink, he's been absolutely shite when it comes to calling plays and game planning. He got out-coached by Mike Grable. And I understand he doesn't have much to work with, and that falls on Ryan Pace for the lack of depth in this offense. But Nagy seems like he's trying to do too much with too little. He needs to be able to adapt to what he's giving. The gadget plays in 2018 worked because the O-line was stronger and they were obvious. They don't work now because the O-line is awful now and you have a QB that can't run. Trubisky's big problem was his accuracy. He was missing simple throws that any QB in the NFL should make, but he seemed more accurate when he was on the move. Either Nagy or Bill Lazor should be able to design blocking patterns that benefit bootlegs and plays that require a running quarterback. Mitch should be the starter of this team. And instead of trying to work with his skill set and help out the quarterback with still a lot of potential, Matt Nagy uses Trubisky as a scapegoat to save his own ego. Now you have Nick Foles, a dude with more accuracy but less speed in there. And because he's immobile, he's left to die behind the garbage O-line that you were given, instead of trying something new and getting the ball out of Foles' hands quicker. The Bengals destroyed the Titans 2 weeks ago because they learned how to get the ball out of Burrow's hands into the hands of a receiver before the D-line of the Titans killed him. So tell me how the goddamn Bengals are able to find that out, but not any of the coaches on the Bears can realize that. This clip is adequate representation of what Bears fans feel like when they're watching this damn offense every week. So without further ado, that was a hell of a transition, that was. Let's get right into the predictions. First off, the game tonight is Colts and Titans. The Titans came off of it was a win against the Bears, but it wasn't very convincing because the Bears kind of beat themselves. And the Colts, they came off of a loss. So, despite that information, I'm going to go with the Colts. I feel like they have a stronger team. The Titans' defense isn't very good, and the Colts' defense is actually pretty good. Although the Ravens might tell you to think otherwise, but I still think the Colts have a chance. Big AFC South matchup, and I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts to beat the Tennessee Titans. Texans and Browns, the Texans should tank. I mean, I don't know if they have the facilities for that, but they should. And the Browns are trying to keep pace in a tough AFC North. I'm going to go with the Browns at home to beat the Texans. Football team and Lions. I usually don't like picking the Lions, but when they're playing the NFC East, I kind of have to. So I'm going to go with the Lions to beat the football team. Buccaneers and Panthers, two teams coming off of very different losses. The Panthers came off of a narrow loss to one of the best teams in the NFL, and the Chiefs. And the Buccaneers came off of a blowout loss to a team that I still consider fraudulent, the Saints. I am going to go with the Buccaneers, though. They usually don't lose 2 games in a row, or at least that's the case for Tom Brady. And I don't see the Panthers The only way the Panthers are winning is if Joey Sly kicks like a 67 million yard field goal to win the game. Other than that, though, I think that the Buccaneers are going to beat the Panthers. Eagles and Giants in tank division. I hate the fact that the Eagles are getting so many divisional games in a row because they can just look like a decent football team when in reality they are the biggest frauds in the NFC East. In a very fraudulent division already, they are the biggest frauds. I'm gonna go with the Eagles though. The Giants seems to be the only team the Giants can seem to beat is the Washington football team. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles to beat the Giants, but they're still fraudulent. Jaguars and Packers. The Jaguars are tanking, and the Packers are the winners, are going to be the winners of the NFC North, unless Aaron Rodgers gets COVID. I'm definitely going with the Packers to beat the Jaguars. The Jaguars don't have an offense. The Jaguars don't have a defense. So I'm going to go with the Packers to beat the Jaguars. Bills at Cardinals. Both teams have mobile quarterbacks. Both teams have very good receivers. The Bills have Stephon Diggs. The Cardinals have D-Hop. I'm going to go with the Cardinals just because they're at home. I know it didn't work for them last week, but I have more faith in the Cardinals than I do the Bills right now. And that could change, but I'm going to go with the Cardinals and Kyler Murray over the Bills and Josh Allen. Chargers and Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa looks very good for the Dolphins, and the Chargers, I mean, they have Justin Herbert, and he can't play all 22 positions. So the Dolphins are probably going to win this game. I'm going to go with them over the Chargers. Broncos and Raiders, both teams are kind of under the radar teams in the AFC West and just in the NFL in general. I'm going to go with the Raiders to beat the Broncos. No specific reason, just I have a feeling that the Las Vegas is going to win. Seahawks and Rams, an NFC West matchup. The Seahawks came off of an embarrassing loss to the Bills, and the Rams, I believe they had a bye or something. It didn't pop up on my radar. But I'm going to go with the Seahawks. The Seahawks defense has been exposed as fraudulent, but I feel like their offense can compensate for what the Rams' firepower has. And I'm going to go with the Seahawks over the Rams. Bengals and Steelers. The Steelers escaped with a close win against the Cowboys in their annual Let's Play Down to Our Competition Game of the Year. The Bengals, they look decent. They don't look terrible. I mean, their offensive line is still pretty terrible, but they can scheme around that, unlike some Chicago Bears head coach. I'm still gonna go with the Steelers though. I feel like they're too overpowered. Ben Roethlisberger's healthy. There was questions about his status to play, but he should be good to go. And I'm gonna go with the Steelers to beat the Bengals and keep their winning season, their perfect season, alive. 49ers and Saints. I know I said the Saints are probably fraudulent, but the 49ers are so injured to shit that I can't go against the Saints in this game. They're at home. I'm taking the Saints over the 49ers. Sunday night is Ravens and Patriots. The Ravens are, like, their offense, I don't know if Lamar Jackson regressed or if it's just, he can't be an MVP the whole of his career. He's not Pat Mahomes or whatever. So it was expected that he wasn't going to be as good as last year because he was damn well good last year. The Patriots, on the other hand, almost lost to the Jets. So, yeah, I'm going with the Ravens over the Patriots. No questions asked. Vikings and Bears in Monday night. I'm going with the Bears only because Kirk Cousins has never won a football game on Monday night, at least in the NFL. The Vikings, when they signed Kirk Cousins, he's been solid for them, except in prime time. He's been god-awful in prime time. I have a feeling that he's going to make some mistakes, and I have a feeling that the Bears are going to capitalize just enough to beat the Vikings on Monday night. So for that reason, I'm taking the Bears over the Vikings. Although, who knows? Our defense could have 8 interceptions and we'd still lose because our offense is garbage. So who knows? I'm going to take the Bears over the Vikings though. And that is going to conclude Week 10 predictions. Have a good one. Take care. Please subscribe, comment down below, like the video, and peace.